It's 2:47 in the morning. I'm sitting in my cabin, half awake, listening. The forest is absolutely still. No crickets, no wind, not even the creek that usually runs like a heartbeat through the dark. It's like the whole place just stopped breathing. Then I hear it. A slow drag through the leaves. Close. Too close. Something's moving outside the cabin. I grab my flashlight, but before I even reach the door, I hear a single knock. Not on the door, on the wall. I wait. Nothing. Just that heavy silence pressing against the glass. When I finally step out, the air feels different. Cold. Heavier. The trees are still swaying, but not from wind. I can't explain it. It's like the forest itself is watching. I came out here to live quietly, to be part of nature, not to fight it. But tonight I realized something I hadn't before. Maybe the forest doesn't want me here. Maybe it's trying to tell me to leave. The forest wanted me gone. Morning came slow. The kind of gray light that doesn't really feel like daylight. It just creeps in quietly. I barely slept. Every little sound outside had me checking the door again and again. But whatever it was, it's gone now. For those of you following this journey, you know I've been living out here off-grid for almost 10 months now. 10 months of building, fixing, learning, and just trying to keep up with the rhythm of this place. Last week, I finally finished the rainwater system and got the roof sealed tight before the next storm hits. Everything was starting to feel stable, peaceful even. But something changed this week. The forest feels different, like the air's thicker, quieter, more aware. You live out here long enough, you start to feel when the woods are unsettled. And trust me, they're unsettled. So, today, before I start with the usual, gathering wood, checking the food cache, making sure the traps are still intact, I need to figure out what happened last night. Was it an animal? The wind? Or something else trying to tell me I've overstayed my welcome? Either way, I'm not ignoring it. Not out here. There's something about walking into the forest after a night like that. Every sound feels sharper. Every shadow seems to move a little when you're not looking. The air is heavy this morning, damp, cool, and still. Even the birds that usually start calling at sunrise are quiet. That silence sticks to you out here. It's almost physical. The path down to the creek looks different too. The moss on the fallen logs is flattened in spots, like something large moved through. Could have been a deer. Could have been me and I just don't remember. But the pattern looks too clean, too deliberate. A thin mist hangs low across the ground, and the sunlight filters through it like smoke. You can smell the soil, wet pine, a little decay. That's how you know the weather's about to shift. The forest smells different before a storm. I check the edges of the clearing where I keep my tools. One of the buckets I left upside down is on its side, and the handle's bent slightly. No claw marks, no bite marks. Whatever moved it did it quietly and carefully. You learn to read the ground out here. A misplaced rock, a snapped twig, a footprint half filled with water. They tell stories. The question is whether you want to know the story they're telling. There's a spot just past the creek where I keep hearing that dragging sound. Same one from last night. I'm heading there now. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something I need to understand before it understands me. Out here, your day always starts with firewood. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. If you don't have dry wood stacked and covered, you're asking for trouble. Last night's mist didn't help much, so I'm sorting through the pile and pulling out what's still usable. I keep my wood raised about half a foot off the ground, just enough airflow underneath to keep it dry and away from termites. Most people don't realize this, but damp wood burns colder. You think you've got heat, but you're just filling the cabin with smoke. Learned that the hard way in my first month out here. Next stop is the traps. I set 3 last night near the stream, just simple snare loops tied off with paracord. I don't set them every night, only when supplies start running low. But this morning, one of them's been tripped, and nothing's there. The line's intact, the bait's gone, and the snare's hanging loose. That happens sometimes with raccoons. They're smart little thieves. But something about the ground here feels different. The leaves are pressed flat in a wide circle, like something heavier came through. Whatever it was, it didn't panic or struggle. It just took what it wanted and left. After that, I checked the rain barrel. Half full, clear water, no debris. That system's finally working the way I hoped. I rigged it using a first flush diverter, so the first dirty rainwater doesn't mix with the clean storage. It's a simple setup. Gravity, filters, patience. Out here, clean water is gold. It's funny, doing all this routine stuff, you almost forget what happened last night. Until you realize the forest hasn't made a sound all morning. Not one bird, not one insect, nothing. It's just me, and whatever's still out there. Around midday, the fog finally lifts, but the quiet doesn't. Usually, by now, the forest starts buzzing again. Insects, woodpeckers, even the stream seems louder when the sun's up, but not today. I'm walking the perimeter, checking for storm damage. About 50 feet from the cabin, I spot something strange. The ground's been disturbed, not dug up exactly, but pressed down in wide patches, like someone laid a heavy tarp and dragged it across. I kneel down, touch the soil. It's damp, but not soft enough for clear prints. Still, the pattern's off. Whatever moved through here wasn't walking on 4 legs. The impressions are too long, too flat. Could have been a bear maybe? But bears leave claw marks, torn bark, something. There's none of that here, just that long, sweeping trail leading deeper into the trees. Then I notice something else. The birds that finally started calling a minute ago, they stop. All at once. No warning, no fade, just gone. I turn, and the air feels heavier again. The hairs on my arms stand up. It's not fear exactly. It's more like the forest is holding its breath, waiting for me to move. I call out, just a soft, "Hello?" Nothing answers. My voice doesn't even seem to echo. It just dies in the trees. That's when I see the rope. One of the old guy lines from my tarp shelter, snapped clean, lying 10 feet from where I left it. Not frayed, snapped. I pull it up, run it through my fingers. The tension in paracord like this is over 500 pounds. Wind can't do that. Animals don't cut rope. I don't know what did, but it was deliberate. And for the first time since I moved out here, I don't feel like I'm alone. I follow the drag marks deeper into the trees, staying low, trying not to make noise. The trail curves slightly downhill, toward the creek. That's strange. Most animals avoid the wet ground unless they're drinking. This looks like something heavy was being moved. The soil's compacted here, But every few feet I notice shallow indentations, too long for animal prints, too close together for human footsteps. Whatever it was, it didn't shuffle or stumble. It moved with purpose. The trail stops just short of the water line. Nothing else. No hair, no claw marks, no dropped branches. Just gone. Like it stepped into the creek and disappeared. I scan the opposite bank. Nothing moves, not even the grass. The only sound is the slow current against the rocks. Then I spot something hanging from a low branch across the water. A strip of fabric, maybe 6 inches long, tangled in the bark. I zoom in. It's weathered, dark gray, frayed at one end. Could be from an old tarp. Could be from someone's clothing. But I haven't seen anyone out here for weeks. I cross over, carefully, boots slipping on the stones. When I reach it, the fabric's damp but clean. No dirt, no mold, which means it's recent. I check the bark. No scratch marks, no torn fibers below it. It didn't snag accidentally. It was placed there. It's strange. When you live out here long enough, you start to understand patterns. How animals move, how weather shifts, how trees fall. Everything follows a rhythm. But this doesn't fit the rhythm. It's out of place. I take the fabric, fold it into my pocket, and look back toward the cabin. The light's already starting to fade, and the forest feels tighter, like it's closing in. Whatever happened out here last night didn't end. It's still moving. And now, I think it's closer than I thought. By the time I make it back near the cabin, the light's almost gone. The air feels heavier than before, thick, electric, like the moment before a storm breaks. Every sound echoes just a little too long. Even my footsteps sound foreign. I set the camera down facing the tree line, just in case, and start to gather the last of the firewood. That's when I hear it. Not the usual creak of branches or the rustle of leaves. This is slower, heavier. A single step, then another. Coming from beyond the clearing, just out of the light's reach. I freeze. The forest goes silent again, completely silent. Not a bird, not a breath of wind. Just that slow rhythm of steps. I call out, "Who's there?" Nothing. The sound stops. I take one step forward. The ground crunches under my boot, and something answers. One more crunch, same timing, like it's mimicking me. I try to adjust the lantern, but the flame sputters, almost like the air itself is shifting. Then I see movement, a shape, maybe 10 feet back into the trees. Just for a second. Tall, thin, still. I blink. It's gone. I wait, scanning, barely breathing. The silence feels alive. Then, from the opposite side of the clearing, another sound. A low crack, a branch snapping clean. I spin toward it, light shaking. Nothing. Just darkness between the trunks. And that's when I realize, whatever's out there, it's not moving randomly. It's circling. I back up toward the cabin, slow, deliberate. I can feel my heartbeat in my ears. I don't know if it's an animal, a person, or something else entirely, but it's studying me. The last thing I hear before reaching the door is a whisper of movement. Not footsteps, just air shifting. Like something. I didn't sleep. Not really. Every small sound in the cabin, the wood creaking, the wind slipping through the boards, felt like footsteps again. I kept the lantern burning low until the first hint of daylight. Morning came gray and heavy, the kind of light that doesn't warm anything. I waited a while before stepping outside. Everything looks normal, but it isn't. The ground near the tree line is a mess of footprints, not mine. They're half erased by dew, wide set, deep in the heel, light at the toe, like someone walking barefoot but deliberately. They start near the cabin and stop halfway to the creek. Just stop. My first thought is animals. My second thought is that I'm trying too hard to make it logical. Out here, logic only goes so far. I walk the perimeter once more. The fabric I found yesterday is gone from my pocket. Not dropped, gone. The stitching that sealed it is still there, intact. I don't know how to explain that. Standing here in daylight, I can still feel the pressure from last night, that weight in the air. It's lighter now, but not gone. The forest looks the same, but somehow, it feels like I'm being tolerated, not welcomed. Maybe whatever this was, it wasn't warning me. Maybe it was testing me. Either way, I'm staying alert, and I'm not turning my back on these woods again. Out here, you start to realize something. The forest doesn't owe you comfort. It gives you what you earn. Food, water, shelter, those are the easy parts. The real test is learning how to listen. Last night reminded me that you don't just live in nature, you negotiate with it. Every sound, every silence, every change in the air is part of that conversation. And sometimes, silence is the message. I've always said living off-grid is more about psychology than survival. The hard part isn't building a shelter or catching food. It's facing yourself when the woods go quiet and your instincts start arguing with logic. Because out here, logic can save you, but instinct keeps you alive. The biologists call it biophilia, our built-in connection to the natural world. When something shifts in the environment, your body reacts before your mind even understands why. That's not superstition. It's evolution. And maybe that's what I felt last night. Not fear, but the forest's way of saying, pay attention. So that's what I'll do. Pay attention. Keep learning. Keep respecting the rules of this place, even the ones I don't understand yet.